Good afternoon, everyone. Aloha. Welcome to PTC TV. My name is Eric Handa, the CEO of AP Telecom. I'm honored and delighted to be joined today by Gary Smith, the CEO of Ciena. Gary, welcome to PTC TV.
Thanks, Eric. Good to chat with you all today.
Thank you. Gary, we have a few questions that we wanted to interview you today. And the first one is, network providers have faced a new set of challenges this year with changing dynamics, with remote working, bandwidth intensive applications such as video and gaming. What role do you feel that subsea operators are going to play in addressing these new requirements for reliable connectivity?
Well, I mean, I think, we've seen it in all its many facets. It's kind of upended, people's lives and changed it kind of dramatically around the globe. And connectivity is more important than ever, as we've all found out. And, I think the subsea customers are about 90% of the internet traffic. So pretty much it goes over the subsea systems. So it's become more critical than ever. And I think the important thing is that, largely speaking, that infrastructure has held up incredibly well. And I think largely for the investments that have gone on across the industry ecosystem over the last few years. And I think specifically, the ability to adapt and move capacity around and reprioritize has been critical. And, that's really been a sort of bedrock of Ciena's architecture, the adaptive network, which was really designed for this kind of an occurrence, if that makes sense. And I think the latest generation of technology that's coming down, I mean, we're now shipping 800 gig, and I think that plays a key role in ramping up this capacity, and that's WaveLogic 5, which is the new technology we've just launched, and we've got 65 customers, many of which are in the submarine space. And we've shipped about 5,000 units year to date in our first kind of year of it. So there's plenty of capacity going out there.
Outstanding, Gary. Our second question is about specifically this year in the coronavirus pandemic. Has been a fundamental and permanent shift in remote working and virtual meetings. For you specifically, Gary, as the CEO of Ciena, what has Ciena done to improve the way that you collaborate with your team and your customers on a domestic and global basis?
Yeah, we've all had to adapt. We have, since the pandemic started, we've got about 95% of our team been working remotely since this pandemic kicked off. And, because of their dedication, and because as well, we were a little bit fortunate in that we'd invested heavily in our IT systems. We were, in fact, one of the biggest users of Zoom prior to Zoom becoming what it is. So, sort of 2 or 3 years ago, by happenstance. So, and the model that we have is very distributed around the world in terms of, a flexible workforce. So, for us, it was challenging, but perhaps not as challenging, for others, but as it has been for others. So, I mean, I think, we've been able to continue to deliver on our roadmap and to our customers. And really, that's a testament to the whole sort of, Ciena family and ecosystem and partners and our engagement with the customers. We really haven't missed a beat, either from a supply chain point of view either. We've got a very adaptive supply chain that was able to meet all of the demands. So, it's been challenging for everybody, but I think, we've been able to navigate through this. And as I say all the time, businesses are always about people. And I think that's never been more so than the case this year. It's put a lot of challenges around people, and they've had to step up and, in uncertain circumstances, and they've performed, generally extremely well, and I'm very proud of the team and being able to support all of our customers. And some of those changes I think will stay with us. I suspect that we won't all be traveling as much as we have been in the past. Though it sure would be nice to get back out to PTC soon. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe in 22. I hope, really, hopefully in 22.
Outstanding. Gary, since the last time you were with PTC TV in 2017, a lot has changed. Ciena survived and thrived with the tough economic times going back to the global recession. And you specifically talked about new rules in a different marketplace for the new CEO. And some of these concepts that you laid out were best of breed, scalability, thinking more about people than technology, agility, responsiveness, transparency, and openness. I'm wondering, given how crazy 2020 has been this year, what has changed? And a follow-up question to end the interview, what are you personally looking forward to professionally and personally in 2021?
Well, and I think, the elements that I talked about in 17, were really about, I think the world's moving to best of breed. And I think, companies need to understand, the value that they're delivering in the broader marketplace. And you really have to be, the best in the world at what you do, basically. And I think that's particularly the case on, the provisioning of infrastructure. And, we are very focused on being the best in the world at moving optical bits. And that's not changed. That really hasn't changed. And we'll continue to invest heavily in that. And I think the second element is around global scale. When we're in a global industry, the submarine business, there's nothing really more global than that industry. And you've got to be able to have global scale to deliver to your customers. And that's really what we've been focused on, doing and growing as a business. And again, this focus on people and relationships and playing for the long term. These relationships on the infrastructure side, as we all know in the subsea space, these are long-term plans that get executed, right? And I think that also forms itself into relationships, where you've got to be able to have trust in your partner for the long term, that they'll continue to innovate, they'll continue to support. And that's, very much what we're focused on, in the last few years. So, that strategy has not changed. I'm very enthusiastic around the industry and the long-term secular demand. I mean, it's been a really tough year, as we know, for everybody. And, our strategy, even in these kinds of times, is to invest and in some ways invest more in the downturn, which is what we did in 2009. We acquired the assets of Nortal, a big chunk of that, at a time when, big global recession. And then we've invested heavily this year during the COVID piece, both in go-to-market, tech support, and also, continuing to drive the innovation and leadership. And so, I think in these times of uncertainty, if you've got the ability to invest and you have confidence in the market, then over the long term, that will play through and benefit you. Second part of your question, in terms of what I'm certainly looking forward, having said all of that, to get through 2020. I really, I think we'd all be very happy to see that behind us, frankly. And to start the new year, the 2021, and PTC is a big part of kicking that off. So, we're delighted to be a part of that, even be it virtually. So, from my point of view, I'm looking forward to getting these vaccinations out there, and like everybody else, getting to some degree of normalcy. Hopefully as we go through the year here, it's. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. Then I think that's super important for people. Seriously, I think, there's something to work towards now. We've got, some challenging months to get through, I'm sure, but I think it's all knowing that there's some, perspective around getting to some degree of normalcy, as we go through the year here. And, listen, I think, in many ways, what's happened is the on-demand, economy and industrial revolution has been accelerated by what's happened. In a big sort of global experiment, we all had to go home and use the internet basically for everything, Zoom, like this as well. And I think, that has put stresses and strains on the economy, and has accelerated, a lot of those changes, some of which will stay with us, I think as well. But I also think that, when I say this as a sort of real technologist, enthusiast, at the end of the day, we're social animals. And I think we're all looking forward to seeing each other in person and having a cup of coffee, and in my case, a cup of tea and a glass of wine together. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Outstanding, Gary. Well, we look forward to seeing you in 2021. On behalf of PTC TV, I want to thank you, Gary, for your time and insightful responses. And we wish the entire submarine cable and telecom industry a healthy and safe 2021 to you and your families. And once again, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.